Right?
When you are.
Call this meeting to order at 6:30, Port of Johnstown Management Committee meeting on September 18th, 2023. Before we start, we have one of our people who will not be attending the meeting tonight, and that's Regina Mirandez. She is, I think she's away on a trip for Florida. So God bless her and goodness for her. Moving on, may I have approval of the agenda? I need a mover and a second, please. Okay, moved by Chris Ward and second by Ronnie Smell. Any discussions? All in favor? Any disclosure apparently the interest, no general nature thereof. Nobody? Number 4, delegation presentations, we have none. Number 5, the minutes of the previous Port of Johnstown committee meeting. May I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Moved by Wally Smell, second by Mr. Martell. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Okay. Now we're on the number 6, business arising from the, number 7, discussion items, agreement shrinkage and inventory laws. Who's going to be doing this, Robert? Both of you and Kevin, or just Kevin?
Mr. Saunders is going to be doing whatever we're doing for us.
Thank you. And you're on your way. Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry. Oh, business rising. Sorry. Number 6. Sorry, business rising from the previous Board of Management Committee minutes, if any. Anybody has anything? Okay. Sorry. Discussion item number 7, grain shortage and inventory. Go ahead. Okay.
Put together a presentation to describe grain shortage and how it impacts the port now and the coming months. We talked about this previously. I was looking at it. The change the shrinkage that has not come through. The reason being that the CFO had not had time to comment. They'll be getting their comments together at some point in the future and send them on to the grain commission. So that's why the order is not in place this year. So basically right now it's status quo in the water previous year. What is strength? Majority of the things you see come from wetland coming in with the water and containing the kernel. So we have to remove the then different soil water. We've also handling losses we have in elevators, it's mechanical handling, we have range drills, we have a dust system that extracts as much stuff as you can to get out of the air away from the employees. That goes up into a dust tank and gets pulled off the ring as well. All those things happen after the grain has been weighed. So that's where it ends up being a shrink roll off. How is shrink calculated? That's just the basic formula. The formula on the left side, and for the plus mechanical shrink is how the grain commission is going to do it in the future. What we have right now is we have a mechanical shrink added in to cover losses, and basically from experience report over the years and what we lose for each grain type. That is what is defined by the report. Next page shows the table. This is basically what we're using as mechanical shrink values now. For the grain with exception of soybean. So let me do a little different because actually that percentage fits into account. The old GFO table, it's no longer informed by GFO, but it's still in the plan. That's why that number is quite a bit higher than the other thing. Okay. No, okay, look like you're taking that.
No, I'm good.
Why is this group changing? Well, again, it's not changing for this year. I expect that it will come into the next year in 2024. The expectation. Basically, the new strength as layer of protection for producers, so it's likely to go forward, except the grain commission mandate is protect producers. And to protect grain, Canadian grain leaving the country for export, they support that by backing up the grades and the weights and not using those up into other countries. Yeah. This order's been around for a while, but it basically applies to primary elevators, because before it was a terminal elevator, the order did not apply to them. Okay, so the intention now is to apply to all licensed elevators under the grain commission. Just to note that this will not apply to some of the inland elevators, they're controlled under provincial jurisdiction where the grain commission has no say over their operation. So there's still likely going to be a disconnect in the industry as a whole, but the grain commission is doing their part, the license size across the country. So the large strength, again, it's just the only thing that's missing there is the plus mechanical strength. That's the only difference in the key calculator. Change, I was looking back and forth. Well, I guess just to repeat, this year doesn't impact any changes to the board. It was status quo this year. How will it change in the future? Soybeans follow the same format as other grains, and unfortunately eliminates the mechanical strength for all grains. That means, what that means, producer was living before is that there's going to be a monetary charge again for the last week. The last time we had a monetary charge back in 2012. That's when the GFO table came out, and that's when the industry split to this table, so the producer wouldn't have a drawing charge when they arrived again.
Excuse me, Kevin, on that, will all mechanical shrinkage, be gone, the values like 0.5, like 1% we get in corn, will that be off to the zero?
Yeah, that would be zero as well.
So everything's 0.5, they're all gone.
Yeah, I've had a conversation with people with the grain commission, they do not recognize, they call it invisible strength, they don't recognize it, don't know.
Okay.
Now, how does that impact the, in that elevator, is not that those still use the air thing? But being a licensed terminal elevator under the grain commission, someone makes a complaint, if we leave it in, they'll have grounds to, it could be up to the suspension of license. It won't go that way directly, there's some conversation, but that's likely the outcome. So soybeans, if you're gonna get again, the history of the soybeans, first started seeing soybeans, there was a monetary check. That was up until 2012. This kind of just gives you an idea of the volume. Soybeans handled by the board. It actually started we did what up and the director does that. I was saying neighborhood of 40,000 or less. So the soybean is kind of the new kid on the block in terms of grain handling at the port. There's also one of the most lucrative ones, especially since the volume is now picking up. We're around very close to the 200,000 soybeans 2 years. There's a lot of services provided for customers. There's a lot of it has a lot of revenue to the bottom line. So they're in and they're out. So we're turning bin space, they're getting turned, and that's where you're sort of make money. So again, I kind of said this, I guess, talked about a little bit in the previous comment. GFO, remember this table, GFO was a provincial organization. Represents thousands of producers, 15 districts, and they have over 100 delegates to make up their meetings. So that's the kind of, they've got a consensus across that number of people, over 100 delegates, agree to one thing. They hadn't agreed to this in sometime in 2012, it came into effect in 2013. And roughly in 2014, just before harvest, excuse me, they withdrew support for the pay, but the pay remained in place. Too late in those communities to adjust, but it's stayed in place. Could never get a conversation on why that changed, and people that were around GFO at the time don't know why that was. There was a history there somewhere. One of the long-time members, they probably tell you the story, but I haven't got it. The intent of the table is to provide involvement, wide standard design soybeans with producer did not see a monetary charge. The idea was the elevator to take the portion of the strength cover their drawing. It's kind of be, the thought was a kind of inconvenience to the producer. Or, compare the drawing before and cover the information. Previously. So I picked an example, the 40 metric tons of soybeans and 15% moisture. In 2012, the drying charge was $247, 60 cents. That was 920 kilograms of water removed from that load. In 2013, since then, the drying charge from zero, the shrink was 960 kilograms, that's over and above 920. The value of shrink at the time, now is baseline today is at $600 per ton, it would be $576 would be the drying revenue for that rate. The drying cost of approximately $200 for the same load.
So would that be our net 376? Like the 576 less the 200 it costs us?
Right.
Okay, good, thank you.
The price for soybeans on just under $259 a metric ton. We break even at the 247 we got it. Keep in mind the value of shrink is tied to the market price. And this kind of shown table over the years. Okay, in week 34, that's about 2 weeks before the soybean harvest starts. Starting out a constant price per timeline over the years. That kind of gives you where the value was getting, 474 in 2013, which was just under 400, around the $400 mark up to 2019, and then the price of soybean would have started on. So last year it was $680 a ton. So that's also increased the over the buying time will be the equivalent value we've got for drying charges in each year based on that market price. Again, at the bottom, so the reminder in 2012 we would have $247. Soybeans are very hard to predict what you get seed shrink. Depends on a couple things. Depends on the moisture level coming in. It depends on the weather at harvest. If you use the rainforest, it will absorb moisture. You can have them dry down to 12%. We'll get 2 or 3 days of rain and another 16%. They will dry down again to 12 using the field long enough. Normally get harvest. Take it off and we can get it up. Otherwise, it will not come off. And we've got the corn harvest coming in right behind us, so using the same combine. You've got to get your equipment prepared out and keep moving. So we have an average year, we'll see about 21%, 20 to 25% of the soybeans will be wet. 2021 was a very wet year, we had 48% of the beans with wet on the year. And last year was a very dry year, 7.7, under 8% of the beans came in wet. For the very wet year, we've had 2 years in the last 10, so it's been that way. 2022 was our driest year ever in the last 10 years. And then the balance of the years were basically average years, but in 21, 25. So where we've got hard to predict now because we got the market cost, we've got the soybeans that you're collecting this and drying cost that fluctuates from year to year. When it comes in the weather, and then more opportunity there is for us to bin and blend and get some of the wet beans out on our ship, still meeting the specification that the ship would provide. We have a very dry year, we don't have very much opportunity. When beans come in at 15.5% to 16% level, we have to run up the dryer. They won't last very long, especially very quickly. We try to run them very quickly. We try to not over dry them. That's also a source of loss or shrink. You take it from your aiming target to 14, you dry them at 12, and lost a couple of percent off the hop. So try very carefully not to overdry them, but that's where a lot of surplus that we accumulate comes from, by getting and blending the relationship. But again, the wetter it is, the more opportunity we have to acquire it. So again, this just goes over again, when the order does come into effect. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because it's not happened this year. I'm not trying to add confusion. I'm trying to kind of lay out where the shrink comes from the monetary. But at the end of the day, we'll have to grab some of that money back to the drawing charge. The drawing charge reinstituted. I'm not sure what that drawing charge would be. I just, for the example on the next page, it shows the chart again, the average wet and dry year. Trying to show the current shrink calculation and new shrink, the difference between the two, kind of showing the potential value of that based on if everything goes perfect and you can get and blend. It also shows what the drying revenue would have been using the 2012 rate. Just as that's the point of reference I had today. We haven't determined what the drying rate has to be. We've got to look at carbon tax, we've got to look at the cost of 2012. A lot of things we go into that. That's the next step of the process. Get ready when the order does come through next year. So that kind of gives you, based on 2012 rates, that kind of gives you a projected revenue impact report based on the three types of years. Average, wet, and dry. Questions or comments there?
Nothing from me, anybody?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
I think you sort of answered it already, but looking at the 2020 numbers, what they would have been, we would have had 501K less revenue, we would have had 789 less revenue, and even in a dry year, we would have still seen 210,000 less in revenue. Is it as simple as like 1.75% charge to make up that revenue? What's the, like, obviously we're not going to make less revenue, or allow ourselves to make less revenue. We've already said over the years that we're one of the most affordable, if not the most affordable place to service your grain, storage grain that do that work. So if that's still the case, we can't afford to even lose more revenue. So what are we bringing forward so that we don't realize these losses?
There's going to be a bit of a loss for sure. I think one of the last broker that was doing a monetary share management, we tried to restrict this monetary dollar already. So he's already gotten rid of that cost. We're gonna have to look at what it is to be competitive with the other elevators around. There will be a discrepancy between provincially regulated elevators and federally regulated, unfortunately. I think the industry itself is trying to hammer at what that's going to look like. They're trying to do that amongst themselves. Rather than being mandated, at least that's what I'm led to believe at the moment. It will have to be a month in dry insurance for sure. There will still be some very accumulated. We will still have to go to land and bin. And we'll still try and scratch that back. We'll get it all back, I think. What will the difference be? I can't tell you right now. It varies from year to year. But it's something that we've been doing since 2015, just trying to ban in and land, and that's what some of this came from. In the past, we've used that, we had to use that for to the purchase grain. One thing where we got pinched on was the corn. Because we're handling most soybeans, we don't get into the corn harvest when it's wet. The majority of the corn, since we're storing for the local processor, as dry corn. We had to know use the cover string. We had to also substantial. And since that time, the contract was modified, and we had to string built into their dry corn. And that seems to have stabilized it. But the final example is brought back in 2014-15 when the price was a couple $100 a ton. Today it was 275 or 300. So we have found these deficits. We can continue to work the way out and trying to reduce the losses. But what does that look like? And the number today, I can't tell you, that's something that I'll put into the line. We're certainly looking at recovering most of that, but when we get all of it. I would say for a wet year, we have us to fall. That'll have to be, we won't be specification on the difficulty. And then it makes it for a lot of money. How much it gets to the mold on the I only have third estimate. I know I haven't answered the question directly. Nobody, a lot of everyone playing. I'm not trying to just going to bought down into a certain thing where you know to speak the market on the really well. Even if you can better, and you make sure that this is the place to do this way.
Well, I think if I may, Chair, my issue is that if we've already been told that we're more than competitive. Right, we've been told that we're the best around, and we've had a table in front of us that shows that, you know, our rates are that much lower than our competitors around. If that's the case, like I struggle to see why we can't add a charge to it and still be competitive.
Yeah.
Because we've been taking last year, you know, we got it at 13.6, we're kind of at 13. Right, so we give them a bit of a break, which makes us look better, but that's gone for everybody now, so now everybody's sitting around the table. Right, I think when you say it's a loss, you have to be careful, because it doesn't mean the same thing. Yes, we are losing revenue, but we're not losing, we're just not making as much. You know what I mean? We're not going to. We made very good money with the shrink. We're not going to make as much. We'll still make money.
Is there any other way that we can bump the prices up to make?
We can set your drawing charge whatever you like. We're not going to restrict them what the drawing charge should be. Yeah,
But we can't price ourselves out of it,
well, that's it.
right? Out of business or to the competition.
I know they're working on this here now. I haven't got any indication which way they're going to go. And I know one of the last brokers was charging monetary and he was right. Stop monetary charge. Not good. So they're gonna gather the shrink. Take the monetary charge.
Do you have something to say, Mr. Ward?
I'm circling around it. I mean, I think you touched on it already in that, you know, because of the way the calculation change, we could actually find ourselves where we have a negative inventory drops because of the humidity change and everything else. And so, you know, it's putting us in it's an unfair position to put us into to say, listen, you know, it shrank because it shrank, but now you guys are on the hook for that because you bought 40 megatons and now there's only 39 there. So it's such, you know, it's us that has to bear that cost now, which is, you know, ridiculous. And you know, so is the CGC, is that a government body or is that it is that? So is there some sort of subsidy out there for dealing with their policy changes or anything that we can apply for? Would be my next question.
Yeah, you can always usually look at comments, and as always, they used to have an annual meeting. They have COVID came and ended that. We just got to get the elevator together and have a what's new in the industry and take the feedback. They know and this is what's really good, but they don't.
I just don't care.
They don't care. They're aware of it, but they don't care. They don't really mandate it to the producer, so they're saying, you know, the producer will try to whether or not bring up the customer, that's their problem.
Yeah, and so my last question anymore, but so we can't charge a charge, an extra grain charge necessarily because the market may not be suitable to that. And I suspect that's the kind of thing that, you know, in year one, it'll be a bigger shock. And in year two, everybody else and every other port's going to say, we're going to have to do some charges. I suspect it'll gravitate upwards because you'll feel a lost revenue. And if everybody's doing it, then then that'll be the case there, so. But I just don't like the numbers, 550, well, I guess 200,000 in losses, or not losses, sorry. Revenue drop, which is almost worse to 1 million, it seems, so sorry, 800,000, but I just ran up to a million, it seems not catastrophic, but problematic, very problematic for sure. The new grain dryer, do we expect it to be a lot more efficient or just somewhat more efficient, or? Or is that just extra capacity for us, I guess is the other question on that one.
Maybe somewhat more efficient. So it's meant to capture, last escape with the huge thing on the inside.
Yeah.
So right now, when it draws air into the bottom, it's drawing into the air. The shields drawing for air down in the section and back in. So this should be, according to the technical paper from that, MAPA, it's going to be 20, 40%. So I think it's probably 30% savings. Your assumptions, it won't really give us any additional speed or anything.
But our goal is to use that for corn.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's underutilized and then maybe it matters, but I would have thought you'd use it for anything. If it was more efficient, you'd use it primarily for first and then the old one being the backup, but. No, I think that's probably all the questions I have for now anyways.
Nobody else is.
I was just gonna say from a high level summary, Kelly, so when the beans come in, you guys dip every load that comes in, you take a sample off of every load that comes in.
Every load of every grain in the report, right, take a sample.
Yeah.
You sign a grade,
Yeah.
that's how we select the bin process.
Right, and part of that process is also sampling the moisture. And the grade, so you're grading, and that's an ultimate number at the bottom. But one of the biggest factors is also contamination, correct?
Correct.
Debris, contamination, dust, stalks, etc. And if that number gets netted off the total cumulative weight that comes in, and then you're adjusting whatever comes in for tonnage at a moisture rate, you're bringing the baseline for that back down to 13.6 right now. Right, so the biggest advantage that can happen to the port, with my port hat on, is that we get a dry year and you get a little bit of wet beans. And you can air dry, because you also allude to the fact that a lot of beans can be dry. Beans and corn drying are very different, right? Very different. Very different. The amount of BTUs required, the amount of cycle time through a dryer, etc. You can dry a lot of beans with air. Do we dry with just air right now? From the bottom of the bin? Okay, I didn't know if that was it there or not.
No, so we don't really have enough aeration and type of aeration to pull that down quickly.
Okay.
Generally, you get lucky, we have to do it for a couple of weeks. You do something with something.
Yeah.
Generally, we're taking moves or taking a ship. So it comes in based on what the boat was able to acquire.
Right.
The time was.
Right, and there's not a lot, there's only 324 within that, but I think I saw the number earlier. Sitting in stock right now in inventory for beans, so there's not a big ability to blend, so we hope for a dry year. And we adjust the weight down to that 13.6. And then figure out how much it's gonna take for drying. So the big question is, the cost of the variable right now is gonna be what we're gonna charge ultimately to dry the beans from the say 18% of real flat load comes in down to that 13.6. But there will be a cost recovery there that will be factored in the future, right? Right. So there's really no loss if we set our drying fees appropriate to the moisture reduction.
That's right.
Correct. So the biggest loss of the team. Well, right. As long as that's great, and you're gonna factor everything as a drive. And if we blend, it's a bonus.
Well, we do the grading now with this, we're getting my moisture.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and so we know where, and the inventory system we use now. Gives a weighted average.
Yeah.
How much they each bin.
Right.
But we know where our 10% bins are, well, that should, and we know we're on 15%, but. Each one, it's still gonna be below the target of 14%.
Right. So that's all perfectly good. The biggest income potential reduction will be the elimination of 1.75%, correct? Because that's just tacked on right now. Whether we actually have it or we don't have it. So that's the biggest threat, guys.
Yeah, we lose it. We're gonna lose.
So it's a 1.75.
That's right.
Or we'll call it mechanical shrink,
Yeah,
whatever that is, right? Because that's basically what the slide says, but I get why it's there. You do have splits, you do have loss. But it should still be contained. If we bring it in, we drive to what it is. We say we're gonna drive. That 1.75 that we brought in should still be in the elevator system somewhere. And sometimes it's a little bit. Shouldn't be too much. And most of the debris and crap coming into the front end typically picked up on dodge. Thank you.
thank you. Mr. McCullough,
The other terminal elevators on the Canadian side of the lakes face the same issue I assume.
Yes, it's a little express flow, because we're the only elevator along the seaway that isn't owned by a road. But they're also along the trade, and they can, basically do. They're looking, they already know what they can sell it for, because they're looking for contracts. So they can do a few things differently than we.
So having a direct conversation with them about what they may be charging for drying may not suit our purpose.
We have those conversations all the time. And that's how we run it with the one local person, Rock, I'm on very charges. Drop them in the last year actually. And we do that has no plans to charge them on a charge. Just like you do in downtown.
And from a competitive perspective, if you're within our catchment area, if I can call it that. Who are our competitors? The farmer says, I don't like your price. Where would he take it for a lower price?
We get, the guys on the western edge, could go to Oshawa.
Right,
Guys on the eastern edge, they're down to the back border, they could win the $100.
for Valley Field and down that way.
Yeah, I don't think I'm very much about it, but I think, and the advantage that we face with the guys down at the Quebec border is the brokers will often fire of the common more for soybean. We deliver some to Chiral and bring them to Johnstown. And then the Johnstown basically costs them $12 a ton. We can kind of split the difference with the producers and a few more bucks and avoid the charges in Johnstown. Both directors don't have it. The big guys contract, we probably miss it on 25,000 tons a year. They go east. We're still getting 200,000 tons, full of half million tons going in eastern fair region, so we do have all the things built there, but that is one of the competitive targets. We do face.
Thank you.
but carrying on with that, what Mr. McCauley said is if those people down the Quebec border, Hawkesbury or whatever, and goes to Montreal, it costs them so much more for shipping. Because they got a lot more time going from there down to Montreal through this city and so on and so forth. So really, if you look at the whole, whatever we get for beans and transportation, I think we're very, very competitive.
I'm not saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I know a lot of people that I know in the Hawkesbury area, it does take us our beans down here. Because of that, they don't want, it costs more of the truck from there to Montreal. So we save on trucking going through.
Those guys are taking them down, they own their own steam trucks,
Right.
they have their own drivers. And then they put pen to paper and then figured it's worth it to me to go that direction.
Any other questions on this, Mr. Mayor?
I'll be back again for another discussion. I'll save it for another day. I do have more, but I want to try to understand this better than I do right now. So I'll ask questions at a different time.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind, that's why I wanted to show the value too, the value in 2013. At the same amount of to say that was much better than it was last year. It was around $400 a ton back then, now you're at $650. So you gain just on the marketplace and on the market, so.
Yeah.
The cost.
Yeah, 100%. It's a commodity. It's just like oil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Just if I may, just and put a baseline on it, beans closed today at about 620 metric tons.
So they're dead.
Yeah, they're down, they dropped to about 25 basis today,
Yeah.
less blast. Corn sitting at 220 right. A metric ton.
I knew the beans, I watched that closely, I knew it went down. But in this shrinkage, it comes down to, we have three things that changes. We have the map that comes through our report, the price per ton, right? And the moisture.
Yeah.
And all three we can't control,
Unfortunately, yeah.
you know, so. Any other questions before we move on?
I guess. So between Frank and yourself, sorry, just calling yourself, so. Got me thinking a little bit about, so if we, you know, had priced ourselves into the point where we might be losing. 25,000 megatons of soy a year. Will other things replace that, other local things? I know sometimes we have this fight about the grain, the port being full inventory, and then we have to turn people away. Would that be something that still restores all that to other means, or would that be going income?
No, there's other option, I mean, there's, these not air even for a map of, half my country. So there are still opportunities to grow. I don't want to do doom and gloom when I say there's some guys with abilities. We have some guys both ways say they have the same offer from the brokers, and they say, no, I'm not going to jobs out there. There's the wear and tear on my truck and time and everything else. So it's depends on where you are.
Right, I don't like turning them away, I'm just sort of getting, you know, what it's just, you know, we have goals for the port, obviously, and you know, we have to show we maintain those, obviously, for our business, and it's something you keep an eye on, right? So, thanks a lot, appreciate that.
One more before we go, Mr. Stitt, anything? Mr. McCauley?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Ward? I'm good. Mr. Mayor?
I think I'm good for that. Thanks, good explanation.
Thank you very much. We will be moving on. Thanks very much, Kevin, for the report. We'll be moving on to 8A, grain operation report.
All right. The operations report for the month of August. Overall grain inventory for the month of August is 65,328 metric tons. It's very busy for the month of August, receiving very strong wheat, and we did some more corn. Traffic summary, received 51,510 metric tons of grain via truck. We shipped 7,410 metric tons of grain we received, 51,000, we shipped 7,400 metric tons via truck. We shipped 7,950 metric tons of vessel and 367 metric tons by rail. So we did a little bit of everything. That's the operations report. Any questions?
Questions? Comments?
The only thing that it would be nice to have, just from maybe my perspective only, and if it's not possible or it's not something else anybody thinks of is fine, but I'd love to sort of see the last, like a rolling inventory for the last 12 or 13 months or something like that, so we can just sort of compare how the ups and downs that it does, but it might just be point of curiosity, but you know, we might see something of that once in a while anyways, if possible.
Excuse me. This was
Question? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't finish that part. Incidents and injuries, there's no new injuries. Labor reports, current month, current year, sorry, the month, we did 3,368 hours, for the year is 22,636. Previous year is 3,091, and for the year was 17,295. And we didn't have an inspection per se for August, but we just had one for September, and we again today. Now, please.
Go ahead,
So going back to the grain operations report on page 2556.
Yes.
Just looking at the green, which I believe is wheat.
Yep.
So it's at 51,000, or are we gonna be able to move that before corn and soy hits?
We will lose some of it. We've actually, it's been very strong evidence right now. There's a Fusarium outbreak in Quebec, which has been very good for us with shipments. We're shipping about 50 trucks a week, a month right now, which is very unusual, because typically when we bring it in, you don't ship it till fall. The odd one was that right now we're shipping about 50 trucks a week out here. So that gave us an opportunity to bring more wheat in. We've actually brought to date, sorry, I'm getting ahead of the month a little bit. We've actually brought in 5,000 more tons of wheat this year than we did last year. But our inventory is lower. Last year, for the whole year, we did 82,000 tons in and out. Already this year, we've done almost 102,000 tons a week. So it's been very, very good year for wheat.
And the reason we're okay there with the high wheat is because we're low on beans. Like in inventory, so we still got lots of room to move in our first hit. of
The
beans.
inventory is very good.
Right,
Coming in season.
Right.
Compared to last year, we're like 20,000 tons less in the house.
right. Which is gonna help us when we first comes on. Does that answer your question, Mr. Wright?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question. Last year, we spoke about wheat, sort of a theoretical capacity, what we keep allocated for storage. 60,000, I believe was the number we talked about then.
Yeah.
And we're still sticking with that as sort of a cap.
We never did it.
Yeah,
It's pretty much done now. We're bringing in some
it's getting close.
dregs. Yeah. But we never reached it just because of the water.
Okay, and that's terrific. I just understand as well, there's some moisture in western central Ontario. And I was talking to Broadway today. There's chatter out there that they may be looking to move more wheat east because they're filling up west. That's great that we're moving it down to that and helping our friends to the east. I just, if 60 is still the theoretical good cap on it, then
No, we're just bringing in wheat right now so that we can fill into it. I mean, right now we're wrapping for beans.
right.
We're making sure we just dry and we're consolidating to make the house more efficient.
Yeah.
So people are coming in and I've got, 2 trucks dry grain.
Good enough. And our capacity for grain storage, again, the max, the cap would be roughly, I think just of all the grains, our capacity is roughly, can you remind me again?
In the house is 120.
About 120 stores, the chart's the cap.
That actually took a couple well there, that includes the Yanks as well, which is 180.
Okay,
I'm just talking, when I talk about soybeans, we talk just in the house because that's where we take it. So we can hold it. Okay, so we're trying to be very efficient in the building itself.
so 120,000 is where you take the beans?
For total inventory,
Where's the 180 then?
including the Yanks.
Oh, including the, so that's the side, the outdoor silos.
Correct.
Outdoor storage? Okay, 180, so very good, thank you. And beans, just for everybody's benefit, maybe we're gonna be, we'll start seeing beans.
We actually took beans today.
Did you? From Western Ontario?
We brought them.
Cow press. Wow.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. He's 2. Yeah.
You're the first beans in that I knew as well, so that's kind of ironic. He was planting in April.
Well, they said that he was one of the first ones. And he won 13 months, so.
Probably wants to get meat in. Is that why? Is that why they're taking, is that why you planted so early, to get the wheat in?
No, he planted so early because he wanted his beans in the ground really early. We had a window this year
Okay.
that we had some really nice weather early on, and if you're lucky, your beans survive. But they weren't like some of the guys down here that got burned off about a month later.
Yeah,
And you got the chance to replant them.
But is it also the price is higher right now than it will be a month from now? Isn't that true as well? Or is it?
I don't know, flip it on. You tell me.
You go.
Chris thought I kind of traditionally did that, that's a.
Typically they drop as the harvest starts coming in, but beans like corn, we don't really predict the price around here. You gotta talk to the Chicago Board of Trade.
Any other questions? On our grain operation report, Mr. Smell, go ahead, sir.
I just have one question on your recordable incidents at work. You got a medical treatment, what was that for?
I got it there.
Oh, okay. So that wasn't on workers' compensation or anything, right?
No.
Okay, I just want to know.
Any other questions? Moving on to 8B, the maintenance report.
I'll do that one as well. See what
Okay.
we can do. Maintenance report for August 2023. Work in the maintenance area during the month included the following. They conducted their premise inspection as per the GMP. Cleaning up of strap from the bus bar roof removal. Spare repairs for the 5-day trip. Adjust the tracking on number 3 conveyor. Remove conveyor tip loader for transferring grain to the west end of the elevator, reinstall loader when transfers were complete. Continue with GMP maintenance of annex equipment. Make repairs to the head number 2 of ship loader. Items from work log order, weekly and monthly dust system inspections and maintenance. Work in the electrical area and make repairs to the bin temperature monitoring system caused by mice. Replace boom winch, brake oil, and rectifier for number 2 ship loader. Repair ground faults and electrical feeders to MCC number 5. Clean all air conditioning units, maintenance of all ship loader heads. Repair electric control wiring and dust tank unloading monitor. Install new scale gate positioners for rain scales 2, 3, and 4. And items from work order log. The contractor received material mill rate moved 140 feet of steel roof and framework that formerly protected electrical bus bars on the north side of the elevator. Decor began installation of the new electrical feeders for Marine FTC number 6. Now this is the maintenance report.
Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Mr. McCollum.
What we've learned from loader number 2, can we apply to 1 and 3 so we avoid problems with 1 and 3?
Yeah, actually, on number 2 is actually rectifier. It feeds the signal to the brake. It was causing the brake to drag. So if it's one out, it's the rectifier failed.
Okay,
We'll go and check them, but it's just a component. Fortunately, it's an electronic component.
okay. So this isn't a case of new equipment where we're learning some things that will help us as a failed component something.
No, it's the
The company that we bought from couldn't even explain why this is another replacement anyway.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. McCollum? Mr. Ward? Mr. Mayor? Okay. Moving on to 8C, capital project report. Who's gonna do this?
I'll speak to that. I'll speak to all the green down capital project.
Okay.
One and 2 are complete. I can talk about the previous meeting, so I'm on there. The garage, still looking at reviewing quotes for the options for that structure. Again, this been 2024. The grubbing has started with the new warehouse to be done, expected to be complete in the end of September, maybe earlier over. RFP is being prepared for the marine water pump. Dredging is complete. That's new since the last one. Still preparing RFP documents for number 8, modification for the dry shed. And thin wall repair project is complete. Just waiting on the final invoice that wrapped up probably 2 weeks ago. Dust system, again, we installed additional trash gates for that system, and we have another set on its way. Transfer sheet was completed earlier. Generator repair, the contractor showed up on the 15th. We started doing the groundwork, so that work's underway to be done in the next 3 weeks. This projection. Here car for the elevator was in progress. The crews on site and they were complete some of the wash down the main wall prior to the line coating. Automation of the vent valve, that is complete. The test was commissioned last week. Operational, ready for operation. And the electric gears and maintenance support works in progress. They're expected to be completed in October. Bobcat was expected to be mid October. We got an update late Friday afternoon saying that the Bobcat batch is probably mid November. We've had some supply chain issues. We found out today, it was a surprise that the units actually made for us. They were shipped to North Carolina down to Conroe. had a talk with the sales rep, and he wasn't aware it was only being inside of 5 days. For that. Fortunately for us, it's not impacting the work report, so it's still in good shape, it's gonna be delayed by one. Rail and old news, deferred to the next year, granular, again, working on that. Ongoing discussion with Enbridge. And it was 19, we moved to 2024. And then I think the new ones in this, I thought, projects 22, 23. And 25 were completed in the last month. We now have the security commissioners in place and bring scale working. We came to Dragon Bear, unfortunately we had a repair last week that we broke the up away on the conveyor, so we took the opportunity to get down extra half a day and got the installed at the same time. We're looking for a window in the present itself. So we've got a bunch of lemons, we have a lemonade and stuff like that. That is the completion of the program.
Questions, comments? Yes, go ahead, Mr.
Okay, so automate bin dryer valves, so that's done. But you haven't used it yet, you're saying, is that what I understood that? So it's done, but you haven't got to use it yet, is what I've heard?
We're using testing. We were playing with brain and running brain around too. But we have to, of course, there's lots of things to test. We have to test the valve open. Doesn't doesn't plug the locker. It monitors the capacity on the locker and after man also monitors the speed so that once it starts, the valve starts to slip. It starts backing up, flow of rain, it starts to slip on the effort goes up and it shuts it right off. So all those things work, so it's both the productivity and safety that check that out. So.
I did also notice there seems to be a lot more green here. I think we got a bunch of stuff completed in the last little while, so that's good. So good job on that. Thanks a lot. So any of the things that have moved into 2024, is there anything there that is still Q1 possible? I kind of looked at it and thought that a lot of it's outdoor stuff. I didn't think so, but
No, I don't think so. I think, no, I don't think that is on.
that's right.
Mr. Mayor.
No. Just a quick one, Kevin, with 918, being the new graveyard, like this, the total budget number is 4 million and there's 1.9, 20.3. Move to 2024, there's 2, so that's cumulative 4. But then under the status, it says government funding 50% up to 2 million, RFP being prepared. Is that just something that needs to be updated in here, or is there another 2 million? I'm just not aware of another 2 million RFP. Is there still something out there?
No, that will be the total value of the project. It's going to be 6 million.
Okay.
$4 million for money.
Right.
2 million of the government in the 6.
Okay.
That's what they are. Total project is intended to be 6.
Is 6 million. Yeah. Okay. The RFP is still being worked on.
It is. We're still trying to define what we're able to bid on. Back to the manufacturer, they're looking at the rating of some of the firms and models they have.
Okay.
To see what they can do, and we're also still in discussion with Enbridge on some water and natural gas.
So theoretically, the gas supply could be part of that 2 mil that's still, it's not part of the formula, correct?
Correct. It's still being determined.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? What?
Well, since Mr. King opened the conversation for us there, I was gonna ask later on, we could talk to you about Rick's conversation, but the way I read this, we're trying to figure out how big a grain dryer we would have based on the capacity of gas, is that as opposed to what we need and then seeing what they can, how they can get to getting us the right number of gas, is that? So we're letting them dictate how much we can do, is that?
I guess we're not really letting them dictate, we're trying to determine what's the most practical. In order to get it down.
we decided that we needed an 85 million BTU dryer, is that right? The old one is 45,
It was 72 million,
sorry,
72 million,
72 million,
and the other one, the current one is 42.
42. So we're gonna go with a 72 million BTU dryer.
That's what we would like to do. What we actually do is on it.
Why are you shaking your
It
head?
depends on the capacity that we can get provided to us.
But we're not gonna get something small, okay, I mean, that's where we gotta really put the heat on, I mean, I'm not saying you guys will have to, because. Yeah, they can't dictate to us, we need 72 million BTU. Grain dryer. To do what we had to do with the $2 million grant. I mean, bottom line is that Enbridge or someone's gonna come through. With that, so. Anyways, that's for another day and another discussion on that, because of what we need to get in there to support, to take that 72 million. BTU, but we just can't reduce, to me, we just can't. Bring in a smaller one just because we haven't got natural gas, it's defeating their purpose. I mean, if we need a 72 million BTU dryer, we go with 72 million dryer. So.
Yeah, well, exactly, sorry, like the chair, but that's my concern, right? I mean, I'd rather have us do what we need to and figure out, you know. Do we need to have exterior tanks or something that we fill up over the summertime and be able to keep that capacity? I don't know. I don't think the dryer runs 24/7, 365 days a year, right? So. That's part of the conversation, and maybe that's part of where you guys are going with, but yeah, I wouldn't want us to see us sacrifice capacity and efficiency, to be honest, I think. Because of that supply that's, as we've had other discussions, they owe us to fix at this point in time. We missed out on the last upgrades, and our time is now, so. The gas company has to come through for us, but anyways, so yeah, okay, thanks.
Any other questions, comments on that? Moving on to the financial report. 18. Mr. Valley, you taking that?
Thank you. Your revenue for the month was 735,000 above budget, and we're kind of last year this time by 22,000. Our grain services are down. Less due to less storage revenue, as we've been discussing in the last couple of meetings, but we're making a lot of that up. Our harbor services is about 56,000 for the month. Expenses were 390,000 for the month. This is a decrease compared to last year and under budget as well. We just explained the differences here with the municipal allocation for the month, outside services, and our advertising donations. We just last year at this time we sponsored IPM, of course, the flowering match, and of course there was the savings there, a reduction there for the month. Year-to-date revenue numbers remain strong. We continue to stay above the 2022 totals and know about budget. Revenue is a breakdown for harbor services is 169. This is year-to-date report. Grain services is about 275,000. Our rail services is about 89,000. And lease about 25,000. Expenses, labor is up 216. Utilities about 47. Operating administration is up 260. And that's broken down into the municipal payments, which are in and outside services. The year-to-date surpluses have had a budget by 386,000. And just even though we've got record low inventories that impacted our revenues by 617,000, this shortfall has been recovered from increased corn throughput and wheat, and the result is that the port is a big financial condition. At the same time, we're, as we've discussed before, we're in position for harvest this year. Our accounts payable and receivables are in good shape. And that's the financial report. Any questions?
Questions, comments? Mr. Mayor?
Hard to find anything negative about that. Well done.
I have one. Anybody else? I have one, Robert. The harbor service, we're up 56,000
For the month.
for the month. What did we bring in as what we call hardware service for 56,000?
The increase is, our berthage is up 11,000. Our mooring services, this is from vessel arriving at the port, is at 1,700. Our grain wharfage is up 2,700. Our salt wharfage is up 54,000. Our grain bulk is dropped 12,000. That's the remnants now of the steel project not happening
Yeah,
this year. And our marine security is up $960, so that's the difference. The
56
for the month.
okay. I was just wondering when we got that. Good. Yeah, it's pretty hard. Thank you. For that. 80, any more questions on our financial report before I move on? 80, our vessel traffic report.
Thank you, for the total for the year to date, we're up to 431,000, you can see the breakdown, we're gonna last year. By a substantial amount. The point is, we don't have any liquid vault reported this year, but I'm happy to say that we should be having some coming by the end of the month, which is good, that'll be our first full years, and we've got the new tank prepared, ready to go. Ships at first were slightly ahead of last year. We had 4 ships arrived in the month of August. And 3 were salt and 1 was corn. We had 2 tugs that were here for an overnight stopover. Spell check on that stopover. We currently have 5 vessels scheduled to deliver salt in September and in California, as I just mentioned. Thank you.
Questions, comments? On the vessel traffic report? Go ahead, Mr. McCullough.
Just a question with respect to 5 salt vessels scheduled for September. Are we at a route yet?
They are across the street, I want to start staying in the port. So that's how the process works, is
Yeah.
everything goes across the street to Rita Ball and from the North Tower. And then when that gets filled up, then they start keeping it at the port, so you'll start seeing piles starting to accumulate on the port dock.
And when it's removed for delivery, does it come off the port dock first?
Yes, it's, blast on and first.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions? None? Moving on to 8F, health and safety report.
I'll do that one. Thanks. Prevention, this is a report from Prevention and Regulatory Solutions. The following health, safety, environmental activities were conducted by Prevention Regulatory Solutions during 1.7 days support from August 10th to September 14th. Conducted 3 training sessions for personnel, an updating policy program covering substance use and fit for duty. Conducted 3 training sessions for personnel, including updated policy covering noise exposure, prevention, and use of hearing protection devices. And this is just helping to get caught on some of the safety items that have been kind of behind over the check. Dated the 2023 H&F planned activity listing, reviewing the training matrix to identify training status and initiatives that may be undertaken in 2024 because of harvest activity. Participated in meetings with Logistics for Johnstown and GHD consultant to discuss combining information and resources regarding required amendments to the environmental approvals for salt storage and saltwater treatment facilities in Ontario. That's safety report.
Question, comments on the safety report? Go ahead, Mr. Wood.
Anything notable to come out of that conversation regarding the salt treatment at all, or still sort of status quo?
As far as the, I was gonna discuss that in our OPM report, if that's okay.
No, that's fine. Yep,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Yep.
Thank
Any other questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr. Smell.
Thank you, Steve. So Mike, do you conduct hearing tests for men there throughout the year? You ever do it or?
We don't do hearing tests, but to the individuals,
Yeah,
no, we don't.
is it quite noisy over there?
I mean, if. Yes, we do have areas that are very, well, we have like, very protected environments.
Well, most actors do have protection requirements, but some of them will bring in people to do a hearing test for them.
We
Oh, these
do
are
test the
massive.
areas, we do decibel test on the areas, but we don't actually bring it into testing.
Take them effects.
Any other questions, comments? Moving on, I'm gonna ask if we can have a mover and a seconder for A, B, C, D, E, and F, please. Moved by Mr. Ward. Seconded by Mr. Snow. All in favor? GM report 8G. Go ahead, Mr. Dow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just some of the capital projects we're looking at, we haven't updated us on that. Just to get an idea of how much we took out of this slip for the dredging, 2,200 cubic meters. It's accumulated now by our grain bins, if you go by, just drying it out, and we intend on using that eventually for fill the DOJ warehouse land development. So where we have on those spots, we'll be able to find a home for that. I'll move on to the collective bargaining. We're still waiting to hear back from CERT regarding essential services. September 8th, contacted our lawyer and asked them to contact the mediator again, and they did and reached out to give more additional dates, and we have not had any reply on that. First reply was an out of office email from the PSAC rep that he wasn't taking any emails until September 11th, but then we haven't heard anything after that as well. So we remain available, and we haven't gotten anything back. That's as much as I can update at this time. As mentioned, Valley Dust completed their repairs to the tank. First barge will be arriving soon. As far as the salt handling, we had a team meeting with Logistec Rita Ball. We discussed our next steps. How are we going to advance with this latest instruction from MECP to amend our ECA, and how we're going to go about handling salt at Port Johnson and Rita Ball. Everyone agreed there's no easy remedy. We're all a bit net, to be honest with you, about the whole process. So we talked about getting these salt companies involved at this point. We think that's a good idea. So we're going to arrange a meeting with them. Because so far, you know, they've pretty much been out of the loop and like to stay out of the loop, but this is affects them as well. And then we have some ideas as well. So we're going to have some further discussions shortly with them involved. My understanding from the call that all the ports of Ontario are dealing with these issues. At this point, other than one port, has already amended their ECA, which included covered storage solution. But that solution, however, the solution is not feasible for other ports. I think I've explained that before at the last meeting, as far as having a chlorine being okay with the product in there, but it covered with it. So that's the update on the salt. Right now, as far as Enbridge goes, we're waiting for cost and proposals. We're basically in the same scenario. Like we just have encountered, went through this with them. And I kind of took the file and started as well. The mayor's been helping the mayor and so on. I know that the CEO is involved too in trying to get natural gas down to us. So, you know, the RFP, everything's still held back until we find out, you know, what to build. They are looking at different proposals. We did give them different proposals as far as the largest dryer versus a smaller dryer, currently or non-currently, just as get the proposals from them on the fees. Doesn't mean that we're going to accept this. To your point earlier, smaller dryer just means we'll have some pricing from them on the different scenarios, and then we can present to the committee and make a decision at that point whether we want to go forward. ODS Marine is in port for 2.5 days to do underwater survey of the port. We are waiting video to make a conditional assessment of the docks to determine repairs and estimated costing. And we're also going to be sponsoring, I thought I'd throw this on here, the Christmas Angel Tree program, about $2,500. And just one other thing, if I could add, Mr. Chair, is There was an article of a V6 agronomy, expanding in, west of Blue Church. And, this was fertilizer. Dealt with the gentleman before, Ryan Brophy, they mentioned the port in the article, as far as bringing the product to the port. However, we have, just to give you an idea, we haven't had any contact. I've reached out to Brian, but I haven't heard back from him yet, but we haven't been contacted as far as. And we're asking about that, we haven't been contacted by the V6 agronomy at this time as far as using the port for bringing that product to the port. And that's my report. Any questions?
Just on that last comment, Mr. Ballard, Mr. Beaufree's never been in contact with us at the port for anything?
Oh, in the past, we had V6, agronomy, several years ago, they brought, we had approximately 3 tank cars, rail cars of fertilizer, liquid fertilizer that came to the port, and that was many years ago. 6, 7 years ago, but other than that, we've not heard from him. He mostly works in the product out west, but now he's going to be developing something in this area apparently. I can forward the article to the group just so you're aware of it. Sure.
Any questions, comments on the GS report?
No, I guess this, sorry.
No, we go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Ward.
no, it's okay. This, I guess we're all probably thinking the same thing, but this all handling thing is bugging me a lot. I just, now that I know that you guys are, just up against trying to, push an immovable wall potentially, which I empathize with, so. The updates, it just, like I said, it'd be nice to have some break on the other side of that too, but I don't think you're seeing anything like that, it seems like at this time, so.
I didn't hear what's bothering you, Mr.
Well, this whole thing with the salt, like that,
Oh, yeah.
I love this whole thing with the salt itself, right? But I don't, it doesn't sound like there's a position where we're starting to have, get any what's the word, retraction on any end from the ministry itself. It doesn't sound like that's not even on the agenda at this point, right?
Not at this point. We're still trying to look for solutions that doesn't include dilution, and we're having a struggle with that.
Well, I don't know. You did a good job on explaining it, right? So
That's all I can say about it.
yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah,
Sure. Please.
and so mine will come down to Angel Tree Program. And I just want to say, that Carrie and the crew, they do such a fantastic job every year. It's an easy one. I can see why you want to support that initiative. The kids in our township, there's so many families. We've gone in year after year and helped with the black bags and dropped stuff off there ourselves, and it's amazing the work that a few people manage to accomplish, and so many families or so many children experience Christmas because Carrie and that group does fantastic work. So I thank you for supporting and understanding the value to our community that has. My question is, and it's not a huge amount of money, it's $2,500, but do we ever get a report, or do we ever have Carrie come in and make a presentation, and do we ever have any actual accounting of how that money went to good, so that it's reported for public consumption, so that people know exactly what kind of good that $2,500 or more, if it's going to be used for more?
I think that's a great question, and we'll definitely, when we prepare the check and give it to it, we'll ask for that so we can report back. Good idea.
I think last year, I know there was a picture when Carrie got the check and you saw it on social media, but I just think that there's a bigger story, and we can maybe utilize that to help her raise funds and maybe even some volunteerism in other ways, so. That's it.
That's it. Anyone else? I have one, it's a collective bargaining update. September 19th obviously is tomorrow, so you're not going to the hotel. So we got that one, right? 26th, 27th, 29th is the following week. After this, do we
We're busy with
until the new year?
Correct.
That's all I want.
That's our position at this point.
Sorry?
That's our position at this point. I
Yeah.
don't know how that'll be received on the other end, should they come forward and want to meet in between. What's interesting in the past practice in history was when we tried to get together in 2021, excuse me. And we're coming into the fall, one of the reasons the same rep, the SAC rep said they couldn't meet was Robert's too busy with harvest from October to December, so. That's his words, so I think it's fair to say that, yeah, we are busy and we'll be busy again this year from October to the end of December, so. I don't expect to be sitting down during that time, but we haven't heard anything from them at this point. And we've got to understand that the serve, and if they come back and they say it's not an essential services. At that point, I guess they could discuss and have a vote with their membership on striking or whatever it's potential, but I just have to point that out so we understand.
Okay. And I have the Enbridge waiting for proposal. The mayor and I are discussing. We've been discussing where to go, and I'm going to be talking to our CEO too, because we got to put more pressure on the government to help us out. We need a big lift here, and not later. We need it right now, soon. So we'll do our damnedest to see if we can come up with something to get this moving.
Appreciate all the help we got. The last update was it'll be 2 weeks and they'll come back to us on financial, what it would cost.
Yeah.
My concern is that my understanding is, I'm gonna think you want to chime in, is that anything over $1 million they have to apply to the energy board, and the whole process could be before we get it okay. Even if we want to pay for it or this combined effort, it's like 18 months. It really puts us in a difficult situation as far as the your point, it has to happen quicker than that.
Yeah, no, that's right, and we understand now. The energy board and the mayor spoke with them in August, but we just got to keep. I guess I'm pretty good at that too, is handling people. So maybe I'll get on to a few people that promise us a few things too. So, but we have to move on. So thank you very much for your support and report. Any other questions, comments on this before I move on? Okay. I need a mover for that too.
Chair is that the community discretion. And half of them 50-50.
On the manager's report. Okay, then so let's move on to H. And that's the Maritime Magazine advertisement promotion video.
So, by right, Mr. Chair, just introduce that, before I pass it over to the mayor, just an article, not to go through it, just to show you we are getting some more play there. We discussed during the article, on the Maritime Magazine, the fact that we have this land, it's close to the port, trying to make sure we get out there to the potential businesses and so on that are looking for land close to a port and so on. And the other part was the video, and Mr. Mayor, I'll pass that over to you.
Yeah, I just thank you, Jim. I just asked for a couple of videos from Goderich to be included in the package. In the past, you know, we've had port days. Goderich is doing salt days where they celebrate and they actually allow, well, maybe not right now, right? But they had planned to do them. I think it was last weekend, actually. There was planned to do the tours and mines and that sort of thing. And the videos are fantastic. And I just think with what we do to support, you know, our farming communities, our agriculture community to, well, I'm going to say it this way, I think, brag about the work that gets done at our port. Everywhere we go, everywhere I am, I constantly get asked, when can we come in and have a look? When can we come and do a tour? And I suppose it's almost impossible, right? Like it's so busy during harvest season, you know, the fall's not good. And then I saw the Goderich videos. They did one for the port expansion, their wharf expansion, and I showed it from what it started to what it grew into. And then they, you know, Goderich does some fantastic videos in general, to support, both the port and what they do for the salt days, and I just think. We're doing a great job, everybody, knows that, but there's so many people drive by that building on a daily basis or a weekly basis when they're touring and they want to know more about what goes on, and I really think. We saw the merit in telling the story to children at the Occultarium in hopes that some of them become farmers or active in our agricultural community. But I also think that, maybe there's more to tell about that story, and maybe there is a way that we can connect people through either one video or a series of videos, maybe some drone shots, that kind of thing, and hopefully, earn the want from the committee and from staff to do another port days. I'd love to see that. I know it's a lot of work, and I know it's a lot, but it is so well received in the community and by so many people. So I sent it to Robert as sort of a discussion for him and then he said that there was this coming on, and I said, well, let's include the videos and see if we can strike up some conversation and let's just see where the conversation goes. Really all I have to say. Looks like it's coming. There we go. I think it's coming.
It's the port. It's the largest you've seen north and east side of Lake Erie. We grew up hard industrial and also as a tourist destination. And lots of times when you combine them both, they will help one another. The opportunity that came was really in 1999. The municipality bought it from the federal government. The 29 million infrastructure improvements over 15 years, and then the port expansion.
We were approached by Governor's Port Management Corporation and the town. They had a business plan for the need for extra laydown area for ships to unload bulk materials at the harbor.
Goddard came to us, they wanted us to run some maneuvers to help determine the best orientation of this new expansion.
Well, this is the Port of Goddard, the north side, where we're actually expanding the port, adding another dock and another 4 acres of wharf. The environmental assessment was done in consultation with local First Nations and the Ontario government. So a lot of people with great interest in the health of the lake. We approached the Ontario government and they supported this enterprise. Our main contractor is Miller Davis, who are a local company. They're providing a lot of material and infill. And people like BM Ross, who were a local engineering firm, they've had the Huron District contracting in Panama as well. We're trying to keep as much of this local in Ontario and especially in Huron. Well, it's about 500,000 tons in total between rock and fill to build the whole island of 4 acres. This is the actual new dock that was created. It was created in water by deconstruction. They drove all the sheet piles in. Now we got the plane trailer on site, and they're creating like concrete parapet all the way around. We've built this new dock and we've aligned it so it's parallel to one of the previous docks. Ships will come in and will tie up here and can move about this dock fore and aft. And they're all here to actually offload our road from the wharf that we built behind this dock.
Goddard is a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Goddard is part of the HCO Highway and it's very important of this port. So that's why Goddard is here. It's for a word or it's for a phrase, how important the harbor is. Not really, it is Goddard.
It doesn't matter, the other ones, they can look. If you go to the tourism Goderich, website, I just wanted them on to see if it struck up some conversation and to see, you know, agritourism is becoming huge. And somehow, some way, I can't help but think that, you know, the port fits into that somewhere. I know we've sort of jokingly talked about laser lights, and we've talked about hosting a movie night and things like that, but I think, you know, long-term goals that some form of tourism is part of the port's future as well. I'd like to see it as a line item in our budget at some point.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see, you know, local talents be helping in creating something like that as well, for sure, but, you know. And it's almost too bad, and maybe we've got lots of documentation on it that what we didn't record videos as we were doing some of the things we've done over the years as well, but. You know, I think there's ways to show you how to do this.
No, so, you know, I'm confident we have enough information that. Yeah, more, but something you have to. On exactly that, but you know, I really support that, yeah, I think it's great. It's, you know, just. Want to put it in the budget and talk about that and see what companies are available to do it. It's unfortunate this year, if you remember in the spring, we had all kinds of steel on the dock. And then it all left. Nothing came back, so we had the best parking lot in the world sitting there for the port days.
Yeah.
And then it was too late to have port days. It's timing too late. It's hard to predict.
One of the things we shouldn't forget is, in a sense, we are in the tourism business by virtue of the marina lease. And we're investing in that marina property, and the marina is more important to the township than it is to the port, so to speak, and to the residents of the township. So, I mean, I think our support of the marina does support tourism.
The whole area.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Again, in that whole conversation of tourism and what the port does, you know, I guess most people think of it as ships coming in, salt and grain, but you're right, Frank, you know, it does own that marina. A lot of people from a lot of areas, I don't think they have any availability to dock another boat there. So it's a good point for sure.
And we're gonna be having a port day in 2024, is that right, Mr. Dow? We're gonna put that into our.
We'll take the direction. That's my second.
Well, I think we should, I know 2023 we couldn't, you know. Like,
No, hey, wait, I was very part of that.
but I know Mike's excited to get going.
Yes, he really is.
But yes, I like to see it, so, and I agree, I think it's great, Mr. Mayor, to do a video and throw and put it on YouTube and around, and I'm sure there's lots of grants out there that we can jump on for something like that in a tour series. So, yeah.
Well, and again, and having, yes, I think that's a great idea to search for funds to, you know, to make those video supports, but I mean, ultimately, like the GM said, you know, if we are gonna do port days, months close quickly and planning needs to probably begin, and if we are gonna go along that, we do need to give as a group, we do need to find and give direction to staff to pick a date and reserve a date and explore the possibilities for something like that if it interests or if it's the will of the committee.
And it does, and I was hoping to bring it up in November. Meeting for 2024. Because you'll be starting the budgets. So. If that's okay, Mr. Mayor, or we should.
Just checking to make sure that that's in the stock.
Like, how much time do we need? Like, I've never been involved in one, if you want to choose, so, when was the last time we had port day? Cause not before, I've been here 5 years and nothing, how many? 8. Mr. CEO, can you help us?
No.
5 years.
2017 maybe?
Sorry.
18 maybe?
Yeah, it was,
I mean, like, you know, we get a brand new of course after the dot, right? That was 2015, I believe. And then we did a couple more after that, 16, 17. So I think that was a good guess, would be 2017 was probably the last time. But it's a lot of work, and if it's something that, you know, we can get help from the township staff as well. I think we work on it together, we can help promote the township at the same time. And there is quite a bit of work, and you're asking me how much time ahead of time you really want to know by February. You know.
Oh, no, yeah, I was gonna bring it up in November, but I'm more,
In June, I think you need a good 3-4 months to. Get it.
I'm more than happy to bring it up in October with directions to give the staff to.
I mean, we just need backup plans for parking, that's all there is, if something big comes in, that's maybe stumbling block, because we're sitting in park and you have to bust them, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things you need to look at, like if our, hopefully our landscape.
Porter, the Prescott Machine Well, could be a good parking spot,
We've got parking there as well.
so.
The first one was June 1st, 2016, or sorry, June 4th, 2016.
That was the last.
That was the first one.
When was the last one? I think that was it.
I think we've had
No,
one
no.
more.
Did you? I've never been involved. So
That was great. Then we did one the next year, not, we did 3. 3 years, we did.
when our council said 2018 and never remember.
That would be 2018, then. Anyways.
We're due, what are all the activity spots on this part of this?
We're due for one.
Yeah, we do, so let's cast. What time though do you need, like, is it better to know now so you can start planning, or does it matter?
Generally speaking, we didn't tell them about January. That we're doing against.
So I'll put it on that. calendar in October.
We have to have discussions on it, so we know exactly what people like want. Well, the first time we ran openings, $300. Right, next time is support these, right? So if you want to have a theme and put something together, we should get our brain brokers to come and set up little booths and so on.
Yeah.
Giveaways, that was interesting. Anyways,
Sure.
I didn't know how many people actually show up for a free hot dog and grab it. You know, James, I'm surprised. It's amazing.
Soybeans.
We'll go all the way to Trowell and get a tuning dog. Next Tuesday, so there's how far I go. But yeah, so that'll be on our agenda. For October. Perfect, thank you. So. Any other questions on the Maritime Magazine advertising promotional? Yes, go ahead.
If I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is a bilingual magazine and our ad is really, really English. Have we ever thought of throwing a couple of lines that are a second official language in there to make the farmers in Hawkesbury and Montreal and Gatineau feel a little better?
Probably not a bad idea to have them ready anyways for magazines that are going that. Also there sort of thing. We don't normally advertise in French and English, but I mean.
Does it cost anything to write Ontario's Eastern? I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
Do we have any capacity with French? So let's say you attract a call, can anybody at the port
We just
take a call in French?
forward to Regina and then she gets back to us.
That would be my order, is that if you create an expectation that you can do business in French and then the.
If someone phones and you ask for information, we have no problem.
Yeah, and but, so, you know, it might be Virginia, it might be Summit, but you may want to think about that before we do that. It's better to have the problem than not have the problem, and that's somebody that wants to talk in French and not have. Yeah, as long as we can defer and say, can we have something to back to, it'd be a welcome problem, I'm sure. Question number 2 on the video thing, are you serious on that? Because I have a couple of people from my past that could. Wouldn't have to report on that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something we'll discuss and bring it back to the table in October, but yeah, I would love to do something. I would like to. Make sure that we got some down some area with stuff in it. If we could. But yeah, and that's something we can add on and as we go. So. Sure. Any other on H? Just a discussion item, okay? Number 9, approval of disbursements or accounts. Does anybody have any issue with the?
Or comments?
Yep, which one?
I mean, you know, it looks like a big scary number when you get close to $1 million, but you know,
What page?
on page 39, I guess it is, sorry. And it's just the overall header page there, but there was a $620,000 spent on capital this month, so I think that just goes to show that we're really progressing that, and again, I said it before, and good job of getting a lot of that capital done, so that's great. So, and I didn't see anything else that was alarming, I was looking at the expenses.
Anyone else?
One quick comment. We wrote 22 checks during the month, but we actively shifting people to electronic funds transfer.
Oh, quite a bit.
Yeah.
We used to have a lot more checks. The chair would know, because he's like me signing the check, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we,
It's getting more and more. Yeah.
In the banking system, there's a lot more fraud opportunity in checks than virtually anywhere else. So the more we can shift away from checks to electronic
Yeah,
funds
and
transfer.
there's a couple here that didn't get through, we have to redo, right? I see. The couple misplaced checks that we had to stop paying.
all right, yeah.
And so that's right, Frank, that takes care of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I'll move the approval.
I just had one that I want to hit on, and well, that's it, reissue payment there, yeah. Couple of them, so we had to reissue. And I had. Yes, health and wellness program. I see a check going up there. We have health and wellness program going in now, Mr. Bell. I didn't know anything about it. Pardon?
What page are you on, or you're just first?
Page 55 or 56. I just saw, I'm not concerned about the amount, I'm just concerned, I didn't realize we had a health and wellness program.
Yes.
And we do, and it's, you mean, do we? Also, it's not, is it? All staff?
That's the employee program. Through the group.
Okay, so it's not the, I'm sorry, so it's not the health and wellness that we're doing, not at all. Okay. Good. Thank you. Good, thanks, Mr. CEO. Good. Okay, any other approval of disbursements for accounts? Well, I need a mover in the second. Moved by Mayor Shaw, seconded by Mr. Ward. All in favor? Carried. Council inquiries and notice of motions. Anything? Chair's report, all I have to report is I am going to the conference next October to the highway of H2 Road. I'm looking forward to that. I think, Robert, you go, and does Kevin, you go too?
No, it's just. Work, but I'm going to that.
Okay, so
Going to use that.
first time I've been there and I'm looking forward to it.
I'll just add to your. one
Yes.
thing to your chair's report,
Sure.
and I just wanted to say, on behalf of the group sitting here, thank you for the tender, for the, Labor Days, and there's the court tender we used for the float, correct? For Labor Day and. for-
Don't thank them yet, we haven't got it back to them.
We're not getting back. New township.
You see that commercial, you get a wheel here.
But the township and the council float, I know that, the chair certainly wanted to do this, and it was a big hit among the community, so I just wanted to say on behalf of all of us, thank you for these.
Thank you. I only have one request, that next time you want me to deliver it, don't ask me to back it up.
It actually rolls.
You didn't.
It's not hard to go.
It's easy to back it up. I backed it up twice.
Stop, man. I'm speaking as such, I just park the truck, but I never got anything more than the same way.
I didn't know that, cause I got it up. No, I had, I did, I had 3 guys at the front, one in each side, one on the top, so the three of us.
We pushed it in.
There you go.
Yeah, but yes, thanks again. You're right. Thanks very much.
Oh, the guys who just sitting there laughing.
Um,
It's severe, but actually.
They were better.
we are going to keep it and I think we're gonna use it for Christmas, the Prescott one, so. But yes, thanks.
That's good, we don't have to do it for.
Yeah, so that's it.
Well, we can all work together.
Come on board.
Yeah. Is that what you guys, did you guys plan to put one in?
We talked about it, but no, there's no planning, we get so busy, we don't send visions of doing a holiday, but we just, it's hard to find, right?
Concerning your folks, Mr. Bailey, when you do get it back, there's a safety thing there. That you should get fixed, because when you drove it down to Carter. No, you guys are, because it just goes like that in your truck, it's like driving a tractor with no baffles in a tank. You just come back in.
It's not what that was.
Yeah, if the silver thing there that you gotta get fixed, will slide in along. Probably the fellow that had a maintenance fix that.
But yeah,
Alright.
thanks so much, appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, number 12, question period, there's nothing, we don't have a closed session. So I need someone to adjourn this meeting.
Almost.
Moved by Mr. Mayor, second by Mr. Smell, that we adjourn at 8:11 p.m. Thank you.
Hold on, sorry, I'll vote.
I got.